All right, folks, if you're thinking about getting into real estate investing, I want you to stop for a moment and listen up. Before you start dreaming about flipping houses or collecting rent checks, we need to have a serious conversation about the rent checks. We need to have a serious conversation about if you're doing this. Because here's the truth. Real estate can be a fantastic way to build wealth, but it's not a get rich quick scheme. If you're looking for some magical shortcut to millions, you're barking up the wrong tree. Real estate investing is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about playing the long game, making wise decisions, and building a portfolio that stands the test of time. I've seen too many people jump into real estate because they watched a couple of TV shows that make it look easy, only to end up losing their shirt because they didn't understand what they were getting into. Let me tell you right now, this isn't a game. You're dealing with real money, real properties, and real risks. If you don't have a solid foundation, you're setting yourself up for a financial disaster. The first thing you need to do is clarify your goals.
Why do you want to invest in real estate? Is it because you want passive income?
Are you looking to build a retirement nest egg? Do you want to leave a legacy for your kids? Or are you just trying to impress your friends by saying you own property? Be honest with yourself, because your motivation is going to shape your entire strategy. Real estate is not something you should dabble in just because it sounds cool or because you heard a friend made a lot of money on a flip.
Your reasons need to be deeper than that.
You need a why that's strong enough to keep you focused when things get tough, because they will get tough. There will be moments when you're dealing with bad tenants, unexpected repairs, or market downturns. And if you don't have a clear purpose driving you, you're going to get discouraged and make poor decisions. But if you know why you're in this game, if you have a vision for your future and a plan to get there, you'll have the grit to push through the hard times and come out stronger on the other side. Let me tell you something else. You need to have a plan, not just a dream. Dreams are great. They give you something to shoot for. But dreams without a plan are just wishes. And wishes don't get you very far in the world of real estate. You need a concrete strategy. Are you going to buy rental properties and build a stream of passive income? Are you interested in flipping houses for a quicker return? Maybe you're looking to buy land and hold it for long-term appreciation. Whatever your approach is, you need to know it inside and out. You need to understand the risks, the rewards, and the steps you need to take to get there. This isn't about jumping on the latest trend or trying to time the market. It's about understanding the fundamentals and building a strategy that aligns with your goals and your financial situation.
And let's get something straight right now.
You're not going into debt to do this. I know that might sound crazy because everyone else out there is telling you to leverage, 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 leverage. They're telling you that debt is a tool, that it's the smart way to make money in real estate. But let me ask you this. If debt is such a great tool, why do so many people go bankrupt using it? I've been doing this for a long time, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that the best way to invest in real estate is with the best way to invest in real estate. Is with you pay cash, you eliminate risk. You're not worrying about making mortgage payments every month. You're not stressed about interest rates going up, and you're not at the mercy of the bank. You own the property outright, and that puts you in control. It might take you longer to save up, and you might have to start smaller, but it's worth it. The peace of mind you get from knowing you own your investments free and clear is priceless. So here's what I want you to do. Before you start looking at properties or crunching numbers, take a step back and get crystal clear on your why. Write it down. Put it somewhere you can see it every day. Put it somewhere you can see it every day. Maybe your goal is to generate enough passive income to retire early. Maybe you want to pay for your kids' college education without student loans. Whatever it is, make sure it's something that fires you up, something that gets you excited, because when you have a strong why, you'll have the fuel you need to stick with it, even when the going gets tough. And trust me, there will be tough times. Real estate is a great way to build wealth, but it's not without challenges. The market goes up and down, tenants can be a headache, and repairs can eat into your profits faster than you'd like. But if you have a clear vision and a solid plan, you'll be able to navigate those challenges and keep moving forward.
Let me leave you with this. Real estate isn't about getting rich quick. It's about getting rich slowly, steadily, and sustainably. It's about making smart, calculated moves that set you up for the future. It's about patience, discipline, and willingness to do the work. If you're willing to put in the effort to educate yourself and to stick with it, even when it's not glamorous, then real estate can be one of the best investments you'll ever make.
But you've got to do it the right way. Don't chase after easy money or fall for the latest gimmick. Stick to the fundamentals, make smart choices, and focus on building a portfolio that you can be proud of. You've got this, folks. Let's go make it happen. Your financial future depends on it, and I believe you're capable of achieving incredible things if you start with a clear purpose and a strong foundation. All right, folks, it's time to talk about the single most important rule I have when it comes to investing in real estate. Debt. Debt. Everybody uses leverage in real estate. It's how you make the big bucks. Dave, everybody uses leverage in real estate. It's how you make the big bucks.
Listen, I've heard it all before, and I'm here to tell you that going into debt for a real estate investment is a recipe for disaster.
Sure, using debt might look great on paper. It's easy to get lured in by those shiny numbers, the high returns, the cash flow projections, the appreciation potential. It's easy to get swept up in the excitement when the bank is ready to hand you a big pile of cash to buy a property.
But let me tell you something. When you take on debt, you're building your financial future on a foundation of quicksand. You're handing over control to the bank, and you're putting yourself in a position where one bad turn in the market can wipe you out.
I've seen it happen to too many good people who thought they were making a smart move, but ended up losing everything because they were over leveraged.
Here's the hard truth. Debt is risking, plain and simple. And risk is the enemy of financial peace. When you borrow money to invest in real estate, you're not just taking on the mortgage, you're taking on a mortgage, you're taking on all the uncertainty that comes with it. You're betting that the property will appreciate in value, that you'll be able to find good tenants, that the market will stay stable. And while that might work out in a strong economy, what happens when the market takes a nosedive? What happens when you can't find tenants or when rental rates drop? Suddenly, those mortgage payments don't seem so manageable. Suddenly, your investment turns into a liability that's sucking the life out of your finances. You end up scrambling to make payments, dipping into your emergency fund and stressing out every month just to keep your head above water. That's not financial freedom. That's a nightmare.
And that's why I tell you to avoid debt like the plague.
Now, I know that buying real estate with cash sounds crazy to most people. It's unconventional. It's not what your real estate agent is going to tell you. It's not what you're going to hear at a weekend investing seminar. And it's definitely not what the bank wants you to do.
But let me ask you this. Who benefits when you take on a mortgage? Is it you or is it the bank?
Let's be real here. The bank makes money off your interest payments and they're not taking on any of the risk. You are. They're making a profit every single month, whether your property appreciates or not, whether you have a tenant or not, they win no matter what. You're left holding the bag if things go south. When you pay cash, you take back control. You own the property free and clear, and that gives you options. It gives you the flexibility to weather a downturn in the market, to ride out vacancies without panic, and to make decisions based on what's best for you, not what the bank demands.
Let's talk about what it looks like to buy real estate with cash.
Yes, it might take you longer to save up. Yes, you might have to start with a smaller property than you initially envisioned.
But let me tell you, the peace of mind you get from knowing you own that property outright is worth every bit of sacrifice and discipline it takes to get there. You're not tied down by monthly payments. You're not stressing about making the mortgage, and you're not at the mercy of rising interest rates. You've got a solid asset that's yours, and you get to keep all the profits. When the rent checks come in, they go straight to your pocket, not to the bank. That's what I call true financial freedom. And let me tell you something else. When you buy with cash, you make smarter decisions. You're not caught up in the hype trying to keep up with other investors who are stretching themselves thin with massive mortgages. You're not desperate to make a deal just because you've got a loan approval burning a hole in your pocket. Instead, you have the luxury of being patient, of waiting for the right deal to come along. You're not under pressure to buy something quickly to meet the terms of a loan. You can take your time, do your due diligence, and make sure you're buying a property that's truly a good investment. You get to negotiate from a position of strength because cash buyers have leverage. Sellers know that you can close quickly without the hassle of financing contingencies, and that often means you can get a better price. You're in control from start to finish. Let's face it, most people go into debt for real estate because they don't want to wait. They don't want to take the time to save up, so they take the shortcut of borrowing. But here's the problem with shortcuts. They almost always come back to bite you. It's like building a house without a foundation. Sure, it might go up faster, but the first big storm that comes through is going to knock it down. Debt might feel like the fast track to building wealth, but it's really just a ticking time bomb. One unexpected expense, one bad month, and your entire investment can come crashing down. I don't want that for you. I want you to build wealth that lasts, wealth that you can count on no matter what the market does. And that starts with paying cash. The bottom line is this: don't follow the crowd. Just because everyone else is leveraging their way into real estate doesn't mean it's the right move for you. Most people are broke, living paycheck to paycheck and drowning in debt. Normal is broke, and I don't want you to be normal. I want you to be weird. I want you to be the person who buys real estate the smart way, with cash. I want you to be the person who's in control of their investments, who doesn't lose sleep over mortgage payments, and who gets to enjoy the full benefits of owning property without the stress of debt. It's not the easy path, but it's the one that leads to true financial freedom. So make a commitment today. You're not going into debt for real estate. You're going to save, be patient, and buy with cash. It might take longer, and it might mean you start smaller, but you're setting yourself up for success in the long run. You're building a solid foundation, one that can withstand the ups and downs of the market. You're investing in your future the right way, and you're doing it with confidence and control. You've got this, folks. Let's go out there and make smart decisions that set you up for a lifetime of financial peace. All right, folks, if you're serious about investing in real estate, there's a golden rule you need to understand, and it's 3 words that you've probably heard 100 times before. Location, location, location. I know it sounds like a cliche, but let me tell you something. It's a cliche for a reason. Location isn't just a nice bonus when it comes to real estate. It's the entire ball game. The best property in a bad location is a bad investment. And even an average property in a prime location can be a gold mine. The truth is, you can fix up a house, renovate the kitchen, replace the roof, but you can't pick it up and move it to a better neighborhood. Location is the one thing you can't change, and it's the most important factor that will determine the long-term success of your investment. So before you start thinking about granite countertops and fancy upgrades, you need to get laser, focused on choosing the right area. Let me break it down for you. The right location is about more than just a pretty view or a nice street. It's about understanding the broader trends in the area. It's about buying in a place where people want to live, where there's demand for housing, and where you can expect property values to rise over time. Look for neighborhoods with good schools, low crime rates, and strong job growth. These are the areas where families want to put down roots, where people want to raise their kids, and where businesses are investing. These are the kinds of places where you're going to see consistent demand, and demand is what drives property values up. Don't get caught up in buying the best house on the block in a questionable area. Instead, look for the worst house in the best neighborhood, the one that needs a little help but has the potential to be a great investment because of its location. And let's talk about future growth. You need to be looking ahead and thinking about where the market is going, not just where it is right now.
Are there new developments planned nearby?
Are businesses moving into the area? Is the local government investing in infrastructure? These are all signs that the area is on the upswing, and getting in early can set you up for big gains down the road. But you've got to do your homework. Don't rely on hearsay or get swept up in hype. I want you to spend time in the neighborhood. Drive around at different times of the day, talk to the locals, and get a feel for what's really going on.
This isn't about guessing or hoping. It's about gathering real the ground information that will help you make a smart informed decision. You're not just buying in property. You're buying into a community. Make sure it's a community with a future.
Here's another thing to consider. The convenience factors. People value convenience and they're willing to pay more for it. Look for properties that are close to amenities like grocery stores, schools, public transportation, parks, and entertainment options. People want to live near the things that make their lives easier and more enjoyable. A property that's in a convenient location is going to rent faster, hold its value better, and appreciate more over time. Think about it. Would you rather invest in a property that's a 20-minute drive from the nearest grocery store or one that's within walking distance of everything you need? The answer is obvious, and it's the same answer your potential buyers or tenants are going to have. And while we're on the subject of convenience, don't overlook the importance of transportation accesses. Proximity to major highways, public transit, or commuter rail lines can make a huge difference in the desirability of a property. People don't want to spend hours commuting to work, and they're willing to pay a premium to live closer to their job or have easy access to transit options. Look for areas where the local government is investing in transportation infrastructure, like new bus lines or expanded train services. These are indicators of future growth and increased property values. When you buy in an area with strong transportation links, you're making a smart bet that demand for housing in that location is going to stay strong.
Now let's get real for a second. Don't fall in love with a property, fall in love with the numbers. I've seen so many people make the mistake of getting emotionally attached to a house because they love the way it looks or they can imagine themselves living there. But here's the thing. You're not buying this property for you. You're buying it as an investment, and that means you need to be ruthless when it comes to evaluating the numbers. Is it in a location where you can expect steady appreciation?
Does the neighborhood have the fundamentals that support long-term growth? Is there strong rental demand if you plan to hold it as a rental property? These are the questions you need to be asking.
Leave your emotions at the door and look at this like a business decision, because that's exactly what it is.
And let me give you a piece of advice that could save you a lot of headaches down the road. Beware of up and come in neighborhoods. I'm not saying you should avoid them entirely, but you need to be cautious. There's a big difference between a neighborhood that's genuinely improving and one that's just the subject of hype and speculation. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement when you hear about the next hot area, but if the fundamentals aren't there, good schools, job growth, low crime, it's a gamble. I don't want you to gamble. I want you to make smart, calculated investments based on solid data, not hope and hype. It's better to pay a little more for a property in an established area with proven demand than to risk everything on a speculative bet. The bottom line is this. The location of your investment property is going to determine its success more than anything else. It's not about finding the cheapest house or the biggest lot. It's about finding a property in a place where people want to live, where businesses are thriving, and where there's a strong likelihood of future growth. If you get the location right, everything else becomes easier. You'll have less trouble finding tenants. Your property will appreciate faster, and you'll have more flexibility when it's time to sell. Don't rush this step. Take your time, do your research, and make sure you're buying in the best location you can afford. You've got this, folks. The right location is out there waiting for you, and it's going to be the key to your success in real estate. Let's go find it and make a smart investment that you can be proud of for years to come. All right, friends, let's get down to business and talk about one of the most critical steps in real estate investing. And I want your homework before you buy. Now, this is the part where a lot of people get lazy. They get so excited about the idea of owning property that they skip over the research and jump straight into making offers. But let me tell you something. Buying real estate without doing your homework is like jumping out of a plane without checking if your parachute works. You might get lucky, but more often than not, you're going to crash and burn. If you want to be a successful investor, you've got to treat this like the serious business it is. This isn't about taking wild risks or hoping for the best. It's about making smart, informed decisions based on real data, not emotions or gut feelings. The first step in doing your homework is understanding the local market. You've got to know what's going on in the area where you're buying. What are the average home prices? How fast are properties selling? What's the rental market like? Are prices trending up or down? You need to know these things like the back of your hand before you even think about making an offer. The biggest mistake new investors make is assuming that every piece of real estate is a good investment just because it's real estate. That's not true. There are plenty of properties out there that look great on the surface, but are financial disasters waiting to happen because the market fundamentals aren't there. You need to get out there, talk to local real estate agents, look at recent sales data, and understand what's driving the market in that area. Is it job growth? Is it a new school being built? Are businesses moving in or moving out? You've got to know what's fueling demand before you buy. Next, you need to do a thorough analysis of the property itself. This is where you put on your detective hat and start digging deep. Don't just look at the listing photos and fall in love with the nice kitchen. You need to look at everything, the foundation, the roof, the plumbing, the electrical system. You've got to know what condition the property is in before you buy it, because every issue you find after closing is going to come out of your pocket. Get a professional home inspection. I don't care how confident you feel or how well you think you know real estate. Pay for a qualified inspector to go through that property with a fine tooth comb. They're going to see things you might miss, and they're going to save you a lot of money in the long run. You'd be amazed at how many investors skip this step because they're in a hurry or they don't want to spend the money, only to end up with a property that needs tens of thousands of dollars in repairs they weren't expecting. That's not investing. That's gambling, and we're not here to gamble. But your homework doesn't stop with the property itself. You also need to evaluate the financials carefully. What's the potential rental income? What are the property taxes? What's the cost of insurance? What's your budget for maintenance and repairs? And don't forget about vacancy rates. There will be months when the property is empty, and you've got a plan for that. A lot of people get caught up in the excitement of seeing those big rent checks coming in and forget to factor in the costs of owning and maintaining the property. They look at gross rental income and think they've hit the jackpot, but when you subtract taxes, insurance, maintenance, and vacancies, that great deal suddenly doesn't look so great anymore. You've got to run the numbers conservatively. Assume things will cost more and take longer than you expect. If the deal still works with conservative estimates, then you know you've got a good investment. Let's talk about due diligence on the title and legal issues too. This is something a lot of new investors don't even think about, but it's critical. You need to make sure there are no liens against the property, no unresolved legal issues, and no easements or restrictions that could limit what you can do with the property. You'd be surprised at how many people buy a property only to find out later that there's a legal mess they've inherited. I once knew a guy who bought a beautiful piece of land only to discover after closing that it was subject to a decades-old legal dispute over property boundaries. He spent the next 2 years and thousands of dollars in court before he could even begin to develop it. You don't want to be that guy. Do a title search, work with a real estate attorney, and make sure you know exactly what you're buying. And let me give you a piece of advice that could save you a lot of money and stress. Don't skip the neighborhood research.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just look at the house. You've got to look at what's happening around it.
Is it a quiet, family-friendly neighborhood, or is it an area with high crime rates and declining property values? Are there plans for new developments nearby that could affect the value of your investment?
I want you to visit the neighborhood at different times of the day, during the week and on weekends.
What does the traffic look like in the morning? Is it noisy at night? Are the neighbors taking care of the properties, or are there abandoned houses on the block?
These little details can make a huge difference in the success of your investment. You don't want to buy a beautiful house in a terrible neighborhood because you're going to have a hard time selling it or finding good tenants.
Remember, you're not just buying a house. You're buying into a community.
The bottom line is this: doing your homework isn't optional. It's mandatory if you want to succeed in real estate. It's about being thorough, being diligent, and taking the time to understand exactly what you're getting into before you make a commitment. I know it's tempting to rush through this process because you're excited and you want to get that first deal done. But the best investors are the ones who take their time, who ask the tough questions, and who aren't afraid to walk away from a deal if it doesn't check all the boxes. This isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. You're building wealth that will last for generations, and that means you need to make smart, informed decisions every step of the way. Do your homework, trust the process, and remember that the time you invest up front will pay off tenfold in the end. You've got this, folks. Let's go out there and make smart, confident investments to set you up for a future of financial freedom and peace. All right, folks, now it's time to tackle one of the most critical make or break aspects of real estate investing, or break aspects of real estate investing, cash flow. This is the heartbeat of any successful property investment. And if you get this wrong, you're setting yourself up for financial headaches, stress, and disappointment. Let's get something straight right now. You're not buying a property just because it looks good, because it's in a hot market, or because someone told you it's a great investment. You're buying it for it's a great investment. You're buying it for cash flow is the difference between making an investment that puts money in your pocket every month and making a mistake that drains your bank account faster than a leaky faucet. You need to have a laser focus on this from the very beginning, because if your property isn't cash flow positive, it's not an investment, it's a liability. And we're not here to buy liability. We're here to build wealth. Let's break this down. Cash flow is what's left over after you've paid all the expenses on your property. I'm talking about mortgage, if you have one, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, repairs, property management fees, and vacancy. Yes, vacancies, because there will be months when your property isn't rented out, and you need to plan for that. Too many investors make the mistake of only looking at the gross rental income and thinking they've hit the jackpot. They see that monthly rent check and start picturing all the profits, but they forget about the costs that come with owning real estate. That's a rookie mistake, and I don't want you making it.
You got to look at the net cash flow, the amount that's left after every expense is covered. If you're not walking away with money in your pocket each month, you're not building wealth. You're not building wealth. You're just trading dollars and spinning your wheel.
And let me tell you, folks, cash flow isn't just about making a few extra bucks every month. It's about create financial stability and peace of mind, financial stability and peace of mind. When you have positive cash flow, you're building a buffer. You've got money set aside for repairs when the roof leaks, for a new water heater, when the old one goes out, for covering the mortgage during those inevitable vacancy periods. You're not scrambling or dipping into your emergency fund every time something goes wrong. You're prepared. You're in control. And that control is what separates successful investors from those who are just playing at real estate. It's the difference between sleeping well at night and lying awake worrying about how you're going to make next month's payments. Positive cash flow is your safety net, and it's what allows you to ride out the ups and downs of the market without losing your shirt.
Now, let's talk about how to ensure you have strong cash flow from day one. First, you need to buy below market value. I'm not talking about being cheap. I'm talking about being smart.
Look for properties that are priced under their true market value because they need a little work or because the seller is motivated. When you buy below market value, you've got an immediate equity cushion, and that sets you up for better cash flow.
It's a lot easier to make a property cash flow positive when you're not paying top dollar. You've got to be willing to negotiate, to walk away from bad deals, and to look for those diamonds in the rough.
This is where doing your homework and knowing your numbers really pays off. Don't let emotion or FOMO, fear of missing out, push you into overpaying for a property. Remember, we're here to build wealth, not to win bidding wars. Second, you need to run the numbers conservatively. I cannot stress this enough. You've got to assume that everything is going to cost more than you think and take longer than you expect.
Factor in higher maintenance costs. Assume longer vacancy periods and budget for unexpected repairs.
It's always better to be pleasantly surprised by higher cash flow than to be blindsided by expenses you didn't anticipate. Too many investors set themselves up for failure because they're overly optimistic about rental income and they underestimate the costs. Don't do that. Be realistic. Be conservative and plan for the worst case scenario. If the deal still cash flows in your worst case projections, then you've got a winner. Next, let's talk about the importance of quality tenants. Your cash flow is only as good as your tenants. You can have the most beautiful property in the best location, but if you're renting to people who don't pay on time or who damage the property, your cash flow is going to evaporate quickly.
You've got to be thorough in your tenant screening process. Check their credit, verify their income, call their previous landlords. I know it's tempting to just get someone in there quickly and start collecting rent, but that's a short-sighted move that's going to cost you in the long run.
A good tenant will pay rent on time, take care of the property, and stay long-term.
A bad tenant will cost you thousands in repairs and lost rent. It's worth the extra time and effort up front to make sure you're renting to someone who's going to help you protect your investment.
And let's not forget about proper property management. If you're managing the property yourself, you need to be prepared to handle everything that comes with it. Maintenance calls, tenant issues, late payments, and more. If you're not willing or able to do that, then hire a good property management company.
Yeah.
It will eat into your cash flow a bit, but it's worth it if it means you get to focus on finding the next deal instead of dealing with clogged toilets at 2 a.m. A good property manager will take care of your tenants. Keep your property in good shape and make sure your cash flow stays strong. It's an investment in your investment, and it's money well spent. The bottom line is this: cash flow is king. It's the engine that drives your real estate investment and the key to building long-term wealth. It's not about the appreciation. It's not about flipping properties for a quick profit. It's about steady, reliable cash flow month after month, year after year. That's how you create financial freedom. That's how you build a portfolio that will support you in retirement, that will provide for your family, and that will give you the freedom to live life on your terms. Don't get distracted by shiny objects or promises of fast money. Stick to the fundamentals. Focus on cash flow, and you'll be on the path to success. You've got this, folks. Let's go out there, find those cash flowing properties, and build the future you've been dreaming of. It all starts with cash flow. Let's make it happen. All right, folks, we've made it to the final piece of the puzzle, and this one's a big deal. Patience and the long game.
Patience and the long game. This is where everything you've learned, everything you've planned comes together.
Because here's the truth. Real estate isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. If you're looking for a quick flip, if you're chasing that instant gratification, you're in the wrong business. Real wealth, the kind that lasts, is built slowly over time. It's about planting seeds today, nurturing them, and watching them grow over years, not weeks or months. I want you to get this through your head right now. Real estate investing is about thinking like a farmer, not a gambler. Farmers plant their crops, tend to them, and wait for the harvest. Gamblers roll the dice and hope for the best. I don't want you gambling with your future. I want you to cultivate it, to plan it out, and to watch it grow. Let's get real here. In today's world, we're bombarded with stories of people making a fortune flipping houses or striking it big with a hot rental market. And while that might work out for a handful of folks, it's not the norm.
Most successful real estate investors don't get rich overnight. They build their portfolios piece by piece, year after year, focusing on cash flow, conservative purchases, and smart management. They understand that the real value in real estate isn't in quick flips or speculative buys. It's in the long-term appreciation, the steady stream of rental income, and the tax benefits that come from owning property over time.
They're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, thinking 5, 10, 20 moves ahead. And that's what I want for you. I want you to look at every property you buy as part of a bigger strategy, a piece of the puzzle that's going to fit into your financial future.
One of the biggest mistakes I see new investors make is letting their impatience get the best of them. They buy a property, and when it doesn't appreciate as quickly as they hoped, or when they hit a rough patch with vacancies or repairs, they panic. They sell too soon. They take a loss, and they walk away from real estate altogether saying it doesn't work. But real estate does work if you work it. It's not going to be smooth sailing every month or every year, but over the long haul, it's one of the best wealth building tools out there.
It's about weathering the storms, staying committed, and remembering why you got into this in the first place. You're not just buying a house or a piece of land. You're buying time. You're buying time. You're buying freedom. And you're buying freedom, and you're buying options for your future. That's worth waiting for. Let's talk about the power of compound growths for a minute, because this is where the magic happens. When you hold on to real estate for the long term, you benefit from appreciation, rental income, and the principal pay down on your mortgage. If you have one, it's a triple compounding effect that can turn a modest investment into a substantial nest egg over time.
It's like watching a snowball roll down a hill. It starts small, but as it picks up momentum, it gets bigger and bigger. The longer you hold on to that property, the more powerful the compounding becomes. You've got to give it time to work. If you keep trying to jump in and out of the market, you're going to miss out on the best part of the ride. It's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market.
Now, I'm not saying you should never sell a property. There are times when it makes sense to cash out. Like if you've got a better investment opportunity, or if the property is underperforming and dragging down your portfolio. But selling just because you're bored, because you want to chase the next shiny object, or because you're feeling impatient is a mistake. I want you to think of your real estate investments like a forest. You don't chop down your trees the minute they sprout.
No.
You let them grow tall. You let them mature. That's when they provide the most value. The same goes for your properties. Let them appreciate, let them generate income, and let them do their job of building wealth for you over time.
And let's not forget about the fixed tax advantages of long-term real estate investing. The government gives you all kinds of incentives to hold on to your property. You get to depreciate the value of the property, which reduces your taxable income, even though your property is likely appreciating in value. That's a tax break you don't get if you're flipping houses or selling too soon. There's also the capital gains tax benefit when you hold on to a property for more than a year. The longer you hold, the better the tax treatment. The government is essentially rewarding you for being patient.
So take advantage of it. Use every legal strategy you can to minimize your taxes and maximize your profits. But remember that these benefits are geared toward investors who play the long game, not the short-term speculators. Let me leave you with this. Keep patience is your greatest asset as a real estate investor. It's not about getting rich quick. It's about getting rich for sure. It's about getting rich for sure. It's about building a portfolio that generates consistent income, that grows in value, and that gives you options for the future.
Whether you're saving for retirement, funding your kids' college education, or planning to live off your rental income, you've got to be willing to wait for the payoff. And the best part, the payoff isn't just financial. It's the peace of mind that comes from knowing you've built something real, something that can't be taken away by market crashes or economic downturns. It's the satisfaction of knowing you made smart decisions, that you stayed disciplined, and that you took the long view when everyone else was chasing after quick win.
The bottom line is this. Investing in real estate isn't a get rich quick scheme. It's a get rich slow plan that works. It's about patience, perseverance, and playing the long game. It's about staying the course even when the road gets bumpy. If you can do that, if you can commit to the process and keep your eye on the bigger picture, you're going to wake up one day and realize that you've built real wealth. You're going to look back and be thankful that you didn't sell too soon, that you didn't get distracted, and that you had the guts to stick it out when others bailed. That's the kind of investor I want you to be. You've got this, folks. Let's go out there, buy smart, hold strong, and build a legacy that lasts. Your future self will thank you, and your family will too. Now, go make it happen.